Hey, yo, Rampart, you hear me backstage?
Always, brother. What's going on, Sauce?
Yo, man, shit, we gotta go live here in a second. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, big time, buddy. Fucking get her going.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just now tuned in, you're live here in the sit down psych. It is the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar, which is your home for Buffalo sports coverage right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and on X, formerly known as Twitter Live as well. So if you're watching on X, join us on the YouTube channel at Buffalo Sauce God, where you can find all the social media platforms for the Sauce God and get all of your Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres coverage, as well as other Buffalo sports and other Buffalo content. So let's go ahead. Let's bring it in. Bada bang, we got ourselves a little bit of a different background. Everything's a little bit different. You guys are going to kind of see, you're wondering, hey, where's the sit down? We're kind of rebranding a little bit here at the GameBook, but right now I want to remind you that you are tuned in here with the Sauce God, your hosts of this daily entertainment and sports entertainment content that is put out in front of you, but also your home of Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres and all sports content, sports betting, and everything else. So hit us with a like and a share, hit us with the comment button, and always join here with me is my host, Rampart Hockey, aka Tyler. How you doing this evening, Tyler?
Man, it's March and it's still snowing out here in Buffalo, New York, man. It's unbelievable out here today. I mean, blizzard, whiteout snowing this afternoon. It's the second day of spring and it's snowing, buddy. Come on now.
I mean, it's not even just snowing. It's like snowing hard. It's snowing wet. It's dumb out there. So
forget about it.
Forget about it. You know what I'm saying? So, guys, if you are kind of like, hey, what's going on? This is the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar, a Buffalo sports coverage show. And basically, you're going to see some things that are different. The sit down is going to be kind of geared more of a podcast where me and my friends kind of talk about anything, right? And it can include sports as well, but you'll see a little bit of the stuff related to Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres specifically right here. So for everybody that tunes in just for Bills Mafia content, you're right here where you want to be, and you want to make sure that you have your notifications turned on. So like, share, subscribe, make sure you're following so you don't miss any of the live content or any of the breaking news, because the Buffalo Bills did have some breaking news today. They signed a former Kansas City Chiefs, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Sabres' tough loss last night to the Vancouver Canucks and everything that we take away from that in the remainder of the season, as well as some sports betting and a little bit of the outlook into March Madness as well. Myself and Rampart are a little bit more fired up. My guy over here is ready to talk. So you guys just cozy on up. You're going to hear us kind of go on rant sometimes. You might even hear us go on a little soliloquy once in a while. But either way, you're right here where you want to be. Here in the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar, a Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres and Buffalo sports coverage show right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and X, formerly known as Twitter. And this is presented by Duff's Famous Wings and BuffaloSauceGod.com. Make sure to check out the website. So we're going to go ahead and kick off the introduction video, and we're going to be going after it right here.
Let's get this over with. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's simple, baby. Buffalo Bills football is heck, all right? Let me tell you something.
I'm gonna crack a cold one because since it's a tailgate.
Ooh, ice cold, Mike. Let me tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are live here in the sit down with Sauce God, the sports and entertainment show.
I'm whipping the sauce, I'm tripping, of course, I want it all. All of my dogs be running with guard. Your mama, you're holding your pennies and bra. Cause when I get whipping the sauce, you taking it off. I'm dancing on tracks like stomping the yard. We keeping it quiet, we moving the signs. But now we starting to riot, yeah. Keeping my eye on the prize. I got me a queen, we riding like Bonnie and Clyde. Trips to Dubai, the way I be flexing, I'm destined for changing my decimals. Decibels hitting the wave, I'm rapping incredible. Splitting their head like a cantaloupe edible. Got me so high, I'm touching the sky. Of course, I give it my all. I'm whipping the sauce, kicking the door. But then we been here before. She ain't involved, well she ain't involved. Taking my shot, even the down, we tying the score. Do your dancing, now twist, don't stress, don't trip. Whipping sauce real quick, stay dripping, sipping on cognac. Roll tea in my veins, but you find that I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy.
How you doing it?
I'm twisting and mixing them, shaking them haters right off me.
What you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I understood. As soon as I play that video, I go, wait, this is the sit-down introduction. So, nonetheless, this is the same type of content, same host, same network, all the type of coverage that you guys want. But for everybody out there that is Bills Mafia, Bills or Buffalo Sabres specific, this is where you want to be tuned into. This is going to be your home for pregame, post-game coverage, and everything you guys need for as far as Buffalo sports. And, hey, all the entertainment that you need right here with the Sauce God and Ramparts Hockey, your host for tonight's show, right here on Facebook Live at Anthony Bomasudo, and also on YouTube at Buffalo Sauce God and X, as formerly known as Twitter, at Buffalo Sauce God. Make sure to like and follow the Facebook page, the GameBook Sports and Entertainment Network. And also, if you're not already doing so, make sure you like and subscribe to all these platforms that I'm talking about here. So join us here in the comments as well if you want. And if you're on Twitter, you have to come on over to the YouTube channel at Buffalo Sauce God and join us here in the comment section because for some reason StreamYard doesn't show any comments coming from you guys. So Rampart, last night, we had ourselves a tough loss, but we're going to start it off with a little bit of different news. We're going to start it off with the Buffalo Bills signing safety Mike Edwards from the Kansas City Chiefs. This was after he was scheduled to have a visit with the Buffalo Bills. That visit obviously went well enough. Tyler, you actually have a little bit of an insight to what goes on with Mike Edwards. I'm not too familiar with the guy. Talk to me what you know.
So Mike Edwards, he was drafted in the third round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which, I'm a Saints fan. So I watched a lot of Mike Edwards when I was younger. He's a good player. He's a good safety. He's not that, he's a fringe starter. He's not really that day one starter, but he's the guy that's going to make the most out of his chances, right? So when he gets on the field, expect pretty good things out of the guy. Now, I love the fact that he's coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe he'll have some insight to this to maybe tell us how to beat the Chiefs. You never know what he's coming here to do. I think it's a great signing for the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they needed safety help. They got it. And I'm very excited for the season on One Bills Drive.
The Bills know how to find depth pretty well. They find guys that can kind of fill in and play the job. I'm trying to get my head adjusted perfectly. For some reason, when the camera's mirrored, it fucks me up. But I think they find depth pretty well. Even the signing of Casey Tuhill, defensive end, who had some production last year. He had 5 sacks. And, so you see these kind of guys that are going to come in and fill in. They'll compete for roster spots, per se. They might not make the team, all right? But it's good to have a guy that's got, a little bit of championship experience, whether he's a key playmaker or not, or whether he's got a lot of playing time or not. He's on that team, so he's been around it. He knows what the culture's like. Now, maybe he doesn't have the insight to what they do necessarily, because you always think that, a player comes over, he might know what they do a little bit. Maybe. But the Bills are obviously doing everything that they can to stay, compliant with the salary cap. So they're in a position where they can't necessarily go and sign a player like, they can't go trade for T. Higgins and give him a big contract. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of situation is not necessarily in line for this year. And the biggest free agents, I think, are gone. They already signed a guy like Curtis Samuel. They got some depth in some other areas as well. They lose some guys, but they have the draft up and coming. So I think with Mike Edwards coming in, maybe they think he can start. Maybe. And I think you pair him up with Taylor Rapp. Okay, boom. Then you got your safety issue resolved. You don't necessarily have to go that high for a safety. I know a lot of people think, because I've asked the question on my Facebook page, what would you do with this first-round pick after the Curtis Samuel signing? I still think they could use some help at the receiver position, because I do not know if Stephon Diggs is the long-term solution. And, Rampart, I want to get your take on this, because, listen, it's a question. And these are things that got to be talked about, because as much as we love Stephon Diggs, and he has done some great things in his time here, and maybe like people look at it like, oh, maybe he's not the guy that's wrong in the situation. Maybe he's, in the right. No. Stephon Diggs has been earning so much attention and unwarranted attention. I heard a great take by Shannon Sharp, somebody that I really respect with his view on sports in a lot of areas, not necessarily everything, but this one. He said, you're crying because you don't get the ball. You think Gabe Davis didn't want the ball? You think Khalil Shakir didn't want the ball? You think James Cook didn't want the ball? You think Josh Allen didn't want the ball? You think Dalton Kincaid didn't want the ball? You think Dawson Knox didn't want the ball?
But Mitch Morrison didn't want the ball?
We threw the ball your way in one of the biggest opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing said.
No.
So he says, you've earned the right to go to all these fashion shows and all this and that and have fun, whatever. But you got to show up on the field, and you can't be having he's tired of the antics. What do you think?
So I think with the dealing of Stephon Diggs, I think it goes back to Buffalo Bills history, right? When you look back in the, 2008s, 2010s, 2012 seasons, they kept taking these kids from Florida that can't play in the cold. That's a huge difference. If you look at Stephon Diggs, he plays phenomenal in the first half of the season, right? And then as soon as the cold weather starts to hit in Buffalo, New York, he starts dropping passes. His hands are too cold. When you get him from Minnesota, they're in a dome over there. You don't know anything about the weather in Buffalo, New York. And I think that is the biggest thing. I think, maybe it is time. Maybe you get what you get for him. You send him down somewhere, let him see if he can thrive. And just get some assets. I mean, you need assets at this point if you're the Buffalo Bills. You have the franchise quarterback. You have Josh Allen. He's going to be the key to this team's success. So I think what you do, if you want to keep them. That's great. But I think personally, you unload them, get the assets you can get, send them to the Cowboys, let them be happy, and let's go.
I think at the end of the day, if a team calls and says, we'll give you, a
two first-round picks, something.
I mean, you got to get something in the area.
Something.
I think at least a first or a second. You can't cut them, because if you do that, your dead cap hit is vastly significant for this season and next season.
And you can't give them away for a bag of nickels and a bag of potato chips. You can't.
No, and I understand maybe the contract aspect isn't appealing. But that's the thing, is that he is he is
a good football player.
He is all pro level. He is top 5 receiver level. The Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs combo, when active and clicking, is one of the best in the NFL, if not the best. Mm-hmm. I think the problem is that Stephon Diggs has just brought too much attention. I never heard shit coming from Gabe Davis. And I'm going to tell you this much. Gabe Davis got the motherfucking game ball last year when he didn't even get a single fucking pass thrown his way. You know why? Because he didn't give a shit. He did his role, and he stepped up and he run blocked like a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. I wish like hell this world and the NFL and other sports leagues, it didn't become about money, man. It was about winning still. Mm-hmm. Because Tom Brady, man, look at his career. Go. Right? Why? Because money wasn't everything to him. Winning was. Mm-hmm. Derek Jeter, why was he the greatest? Probably the greatest shortstop ever, one of the greatest Yankees ever, and one of the greatest players of our generation, because he didn't care about none of that. He cared about winning. It's just a shame, because I really think if you can go ahead and you can get a first-round pick this year, you pair it up with your pick number 28, and you find a way to move up somewhere in the draft, and you get a guy. You might not be able to get Marvin Harrison Jr., but you might be able to get a different guy. There's a lot of receivers in this draft. I think, though, that you have solved a small issue, though. Khalil Shakir, I think, is really a fucking baller underneath it all if you just let him. I'll tell you what, everybody doubted him, Tyler, last year, because in training camp, he dropped a lot of balls. Preseason dropped a lot of balls. I said, I don't care. I saw enough his rookie season to say, let him play. I saw him go up like fucking Calvin Johnson, Megatron, and go up in traffic. And he's not even a tall guy. He can do everything you ask him.
He can route one really good. I think if you put him in the slot, it'll be with him, Kincaid, and Knox.
Khalil Shakir, if he really is what I'm saying, like what I'm thinking, right now in my head, look at Julian Edelman, what he did for the Patriots. Look what Wes Welker did for the Patriots. Look what a great slot receiver like Cooper Kupp did. Khalil Shakir is young and getting limited targets because he's in an offense that has Stephon Diggs, and then you have Gabe Davis, who was getting enough. He found his way with limited touches. I think.
Look at Godwin down in Tampa Bay that he did with Tom Brady. I mean, you need a guy like that. You need a guy that's going to go in between the numbers, cut your drag routes, get you 5 yards, keep the chains moving. That's what's going to win you football games. The deep passes, yeah, they're great, whatever, but you can't rely on that all year long. You got to rely on that running game, your tight ends, and your slot receiver.
I think now you have to reassess your entire offense. You have Joe Brady resuming as the offensive coordinator. This will be his first full season as the Bills offensive coordinator, obviously taking over in place of Ken Dorsey. But now you're going to be in a situation where you have a lot of different talent in a lot of areas. You lose Gabe Davis. You found out that you have quite the running game. You kept Ty Johnson to pair up with James Cook. But now you know that you have Dalton Kincaid, a fucking gem, who could really, the way that it looked last season, could develop into fucking top 3, if not top 1 tight end. I mean, he catches everything. Mm-hmm. So it makes me wonder, where does Stephon Diggs fit in all this? Because I can't remember the last great game that just pops off in my head of Stephon Diggs was Miami last year when Josh Allen had a perfect passer rating. He had 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But it's just all the antics. But this is the news that I do know. This is rumors that I've heard. It is more than likely that he's going to restructure his contract in a way, and he is going to be kept with Buffalo for at least a season because that's what they want to do.
Which is good.
Brandon Beane has come out and said, and so has Josh Allen, have all come out and said everything in support of Stephon, and he's never said anything specifically bashing the Bills. I'm just saying, you want to really like kind of give the hint that like, whatever, then you need to show the fuck up, dude, because like late in the season, man, it ain't because he's cold. It's because just for some reason he's disappearing. Maybe it's the attention, sure, but like, what do you get mad about? If you want to fucking get mad, then get open.
I think you still need that cake, right? You still need that main course. You need those players like that Johnson they just signed. You got, Von Miller's coming back. Those are your key contributors this year, I think. You got Russo. They're gonna get going, but that icing players, your players like
what, Tyler, now that you're talking about this, it makes me realize, what does Josh Allen truly need? When I felt like Josh Allen was really just playing his best football and kind of playing more like, I don't know, he had a guy he could rely on. That guy was either John Smokey Brown or Cole Beasley.
Yep.
Okay? Those were guys that Josh could count on. I got to be honest, this last season, he couldn't count on fucking Stephon Diggs. He could count on Khalil Shakir. What if Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir are more of a focal point than you got Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid? And that right there becomes your focal point, Tyler. I mean, let's think about it. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Okay, who are the other receivers? McCole Hardman. Okay, you got Curtis Samuel. You know what I'm saying? So, like, maybe it's just that we're not using the correct guys in this instance. So I'm saying, Buffalo, if you get a phone call, we'll give you a second-round pick for him. You got to consider it. I'm not saying, jump the gun. I'm saying you got to consider it.
I think you got to get at least a first for him, though, because he has a special talent when he's on, dude. He's that icing piece, though.
One of the best route runners in the NFL, if not.
He is.
Best, dude. His footwork is unmatched.
Yep.
But his hands last year took a dip, and that's something that I couldn't say for his prior seasons. Here's my thing, man. You got the quarterback with Josh Allen. You've got to win. You've got to fucking win. You don't have forever. You've got to step up and win. But if you guys are just now tuning, you're live here in the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar, a Buffalo sports coverage show right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and an X, formerly known as Twitter, right here, presented by Duff Swings at BuffaloSauceGuy.com, hosted by the Sauce Guy and Rampart Hockey. And we're just discussing a little bit about the Buffalo Bills situation with Stephon Diggs and all the rumors that are transpiring. They signed a safety, obviously. They get some depth in the defensive end department. They signed Nick Morrow, linebacker. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to maybe look at offensive. They got Osiris Torrance in the second round last year. They're going to look, I think, offensive weapons in the first round, possibly. Right off the top of your head, Tyler, obviously as a casual fan of the Buffalo Bills, what would you say is their biggest need?
I think you need that center, dude. I mean, I know it's kind of like not a flashy position, but you got to think, bro. The center touches the ball every play. Like
Saturday.
Yep. Look at Jason Kelce, what he did with Philly. You got boy from Cowboys there a couple years back. Not Martin. Who's that other cat that they had? Whatever. He was a good center. They had you need that offensive line because you got to protect the franchise. You can't let the franchise get hit. That's why I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. I love the Chase Young pick. We got two quarterbacks in our division that need to go to the ground, right? Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. I love it. With the Buffalo Bills, I think they're set on the skill positions. They're going to find their diamond in the rough, especially with a talent like Josh Allen. You just need to be there for him. That's it. Josh, you got to make that read, that second read. If you got to go, go. Don't second guess yourself and throw it into double coverage. You can't do that this year. You got to just go. You're 265 pounds. You're hard to take on the ground. Slide, buddy.
Well,
slide.
That's the thing I will say, too, is that I felt after Ken Dorsey was, let go. What's going on, Bobby? How you doing, buddy? He's going to be hosting a show come live, I think, for Buffalo fan base it is soon. So check out my buddy, Buffalo Bobby, who will be coming on as a guest, I'm sure, here in the future. My guy Kirby's going to tune in with us tomorrow, too, Tyler. So make sure you're possibly ready to go to live tomorrow, especially with the Buffalo Sabres playing Edmonton. But back to what you're saying, man. Overall, I think, you look at the situation. Joe Brady takes over for Ken Dorsey, and Josh Allen starts to run with the football more. The lid came off of him a little bit. And I think also everybody in this world was shocked how we beat the Dallas Cowboys. But Josh Allen was not the hero of that game.
I wasn't. I was late in the hospital.
But that's the thing. Tom Brady won Super Bowls. And Tyler, with the exception of his fucking all-time passing yards or whatever against Philly, even though they lost, and all that shit, he's never had a great Tampa Bay, fine, a great Super Bowl game. Okay, because sometimes that's not what it takes. Sometimes it's taking care of the football. I do feel like Josh at times last year was throwing it and forcing it because of Stephon Diggs wanting the ball.
Yep.
I felt like when Josh was able to throw it away sometimes, though, it's not in his nature, but it is a part of growing and it is a part of maturing. And it is something that I saw more of him in the later part of the season with Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator. I think overall, though, you just got to have a guy, because I feel like also, too, he wants a guy out there that's got his back. Who can I fucking really, what I'm saying? Like Calvin Johnson. You think that him and Matt Stafford didn't be like, yo, fuck these three defensive backs. I got this. Like, go. Yep. I got this. But like he didn't.
Tom Brady, Randy Moss.
He wasn't some dude just like when I was telling Sean McMullen, I got this. You know what I'm saying? And he just doesn't get the ball to me. I was actually gonna get this. You know what I'm saying? Like Stephon Diggs, man, I love you, and I really believe that you are the best receiver in football when you're playing at your fucking level. But man, it ain't about the individual. It is about the team. And when you came here, everything thrives so much, man. I don't want people to lose sight of that. This was supposed to be a fun thing. Some people want to sit here and say whatever about Josh Allen, but in the last part of the season, man, he tuned his game up quite a bit. I think it's a little tough sometimes when you got all these expectations and you come up short so many times. It does something to you mentally.
And I think Ken Dorsey wasn't the fit as offensive coordinator, because Ken Dorsey, he went from his quarterback coach, which is essentially his friend.
But I will say this, though. Ken Dorsey was the quarterback coach when Cam Newton won his MVP, and he was the quarterback coach when Josh Allen had his big year in 2020. And this is the thing, is that was the guy that Josh Allen wanted. But what he did was he completely simplified the offense in the worst of ways and just kind of took away from what the areas that we should have been looking. Joe Brady found ways to utilize guys that you necessarily weren't expecting to have a big game. And that's exactly the kind of things that Joe Brady does well. But I think the reason I like Brian Daboll when he was here was because he came from a coaching tree of winners and successful people in the NFL. I mean, you look at Andy Reid with his coaching tree. I mean, Sean McDermott's from the Andy Reid coaching tree, technically. Now you got guys that are from the Sean McDermott coaching tree. Okay. But overall, you've got Joe Brady comes in and he's got some experience. He's got quite a bit. Brian Daboll had all that, but Brian Daboll, it took a second. Joe Brady kind of stepped in and fixed something right away. So imagine what he's going to do with a healthy offense and time and kind of a revamped idea here, because I think, oh God, I just think about it, man, how short Buffalo has fallen in recent years. They really, in postseason play, they get themselves there, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not against the Bengals, but against the Kansas City Chiefs, they're there. It took Peyton Manning how fucking long to actually get over the hump. Okay? Peyton Manning, I consider him to be probably one of the most talented overall, pure quarterbacks of all time, most intelligent. I think if he was in Brady's situation with how everything transpired in New England, he probably would have won Super Bowls like fucking none other. You know what I'm saying? Different situation. Never had that defense like New England did. But if you guys are just not tuning in here on the Buffalo Sports Bar, a sports show about Buffalo sports, and we're going to talk about some Sabres action that happened last night because we were talking about the Buffalo Bills. But Tyler, let's go ahead. Let's play a little video right now because I want to talk to you about Rasmus Dahlin last night and everything that I saw, because I was actually able to find a way to illegally stream the game, and also everything that I heard on the radio this morning about the Sabres. So I want to talk about these guys are good, scary good.
Now do you believe? These guys are good, scary good.
Listen, I saw Rasmus Dahlin last night absolutely fucking put it all on the line for this Sabres team to try to beat a much superior Canucks team, okay? The Canucks were the favorite coming in. But I'll be honest, the sports books were giving a little bit less of a money line to the Sabres because they really see the Sabres have turned it up. Rasmus Dahlin last night scores 2 goals, okay? There's an empty net for the Sabres, and he's literally diving, blocking shots, dude. He was doing everything, and that's why we drafted him, because he could do everything as a defenseman, and he could fight. Right? And he was a big dude. Rasmus Dahlin is showing me right now, and he's got the desire. Doesn't matter how short you've fallen every single year. Doesn't matter how close you might be. Doesn't matter how many times it's been down. Doesn't matter how many boos you've had. He's got the heart, dude. And that's something I saw last night. I thought I saw something different from the Sabres team last night. Tell me, Rasmus Dahlin, how he played last night, Tyler, and, what do you think is going to take going forward?
Man, I've been watching it all year, man. No one's just had the patience with it. We make huge acquisitions at the trade deadline. And guess what? After you make those acquisitions, those players are ours now. They're no one else's. They're ours. We have Bo Byram. We have guys like, Peyton Krebs that we traded for a couple years ago. We need Skinner to step up. We need to stop making my big thing last night. I get it.
I gotta say, and I hate to cut you off, but this is something that we talked about recently too, that we wanted to maybe see a Sabres player come up with a hat trick to maybe spark something too. And we've been actually calling all these things, the fighting, the big win, Don Granato and Jeff Skinner the other night, who has to step up, had a hat trick, and dude, he looked.
And I love seeing that from him. Honestly, I mean, he's making a lot of money. Jeff Skinner is. He's making more money than Sidney Crosby right now, dude. That makes me sick, kind of a little bit, but I get it because Jeff Skinner is a talent that is gonna play the right way. He's not gonna cheat you. He's gonna try to score.
Who's playing with at center, Tyler?
Last night I think it was Cousins.
Okay, so that's my thing. Cousins, I feel like. Do you feel like he's more of a defensive center, or do you feel like he's an offensive center?
I think he's a playmaker. I think he's a guy that's gonna do some deeps.
So tell me why Jeff Skinner had one of his best, and that's why we signed him to a fucking huge contract extension when he played with Jack Eichel, who was actually a really good passing center. What's the difference there?
The difference to me with Dylan Cousins and Jack Eichel is that Cousins is a little bit more.
Tell me the difference, but tell me exactly why it's not necessarily making Jeff Skinner as good, because I think Cousins, like you said, he's a playmaker.
I think why it's not making him, thrive in that system is because Granato keeps switching the lines up. You don't have time to get chemistry with anybody. You're playing with a new player every game. And that's frustrating because, certain players do certain things a different way. One guy might like the puck around the boards. Another guy might like the puck in the slot. When you're switching up the lines so much and making it difficult for the team to mesh, you're making it hard for them to mesh.
Here's the thing, bro. You just put it right on the money, dude. You're messing with team chemistry. I think back, you could be a casual hockey fan, but if you watch the movie Miracle, one of the greatest fucking stories in sports, if not the greatest sports story ever told, okay? You got those 3 guys that were, passing or whatever, and then Herb, as wise as he was, fucking dickhead he was, I slapped him around a couple times, a couple throwaway games with Rochester, but boom. And he knew when to throw him in because there is that chemistry. Don Granato might be trying to figure out, is there a missing? No, you have the pieces, but just keep it consistent. Don't try to. I think Don Granato is over managing, and that's something I saw a different sport from Joe Girardi of the New York Yankees, and that's ultimately why I thought he was fired, because he was constantly messing with the batting order. Who's in there? You can't do that. I mean, fucking AJ Burnett was a pitcher, and his fault. He didn't even have whoever was.
Look at last night. Look at last night. Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks. They play the same 3 guys together all the time. They got Quinn Hughes at defense. They'll put Elias Pettersson at center, and then they put JT Miller on the wing. Every night they play like that. How do you think these guys get 91 points? It's because when you get chemistry like that, it just becomes unstoppable. Because, dude, you can look at you don't even have to look, and you already know where the guy's at.
That the guy's gonna come fill behind you when you leave the puck. You know what I mean? You leave it in the zone. That's the thing that I noticed with the
That's the
Sabres
thing.
a little bit more of last night, though, Tyler, was I felt like their skating and their overall connection was
And it's been
good.
good.
So
Yeah.
in a way, I'm also seeing a little bit of an upside to him switching up the line so much because all these guys are learning how to play with everybody to where it's like one fucking unit. But if you want to fucking get there now, dude, you got to fucking get some consistency for these guys because consistency is one of the most important things in sports, Tyler.
And I love to see him skating like this because, dude, on the West Coast, you know it. It's way harder. It's a different time difference. The elevation's different. Everything's different when you're on a West Coast trip. So to see them have fresh legs, eating their oranges in the intermission, I mean, dude, that's beautiful. You can't ask for anything more.
And even though they get, they lose 3-2, Levy had a good game in the net. He actually played pretty solid. And I think in the first one, you can't look good on him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it was
and
pokey.
John Granado challenged it too. So like, but it wasn't.
It was in. It was in. The thing about Levi, I wish he's still a young kid. They're putting a lot of pressure on that kid. I mean,
but here's one other thing, Tyler, that I felt like they got to do a little bit more of. Okay. And it's funny because when I can fucking watch, I can see exactly. And I'm not even like a hockey expert or player like you per se, but I know movement and I know flow and I know momentum. And one thing that I'll say too is that when it comes to the Sabres, like how they were playing last night, there was much better movement overall, but they weren't doing one thing. They weren't putting the puck on the net in that fucking first power play. Everybody was kind of moving the puck along nice, yes, and being patient, which is good. But you got to start taking who wants to take the shot. Because I'll tell you what, you fucking skip the pass 4 times and it finally gets back to me. Oh, fuck all you. I want the goal. I want to go get the fucking drinks for me tonight. I'm saying I want to score.
All you got to do is shoot it low. I mean, you get bodies in front of the net, shoot it low, hit it off the pillows. It's going to bounce out. What did Vancouver do all night last night? Shooting it low. Levi couldn't get the rebounds after that. They were going right to him.
Yeah. I do also feel like the Sabres could use one more really solid scorer. I'm saying like somebody to really come in and give you fucking a good amount of goals because I feel like if you're giving up 3 goals, if you have a good enough offense, so Tyler, you're going to win these hockey games with 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And ultimately, or you find yourself at least with an overtime loss, which I still sometimes think that the whole playoff format is dumb. I mean, what's your thoughts on how the playoff format is? Because you'll see guys that got less wins, but they got more overtime losses than they got regular losses than they get in the playoffs before a team. What do you think of that?
I mean, it makes sense. When you're playing good 5-on-5 hockey, that's what the NHL wants to see, right? So that's 95% of the playoffs. I mean, you're only going to get 5% overtime games in the playoffs. It's so competitive. So, I mean, I like the playoff format. I think, if you're good enough, you get in. If you're not, better luck next year.
So I want to talk about a bad beat real fast that happened last night in the world of hockey. I believe it was the Predators. And who did the Predators play last night? Was it the San Jose Sharks? I think it was, right?
Yeah.
And, I think the Predators minus 2.5 was plus money, right? And so the Sharks minus 2.5 was heavy favorite money, right? And like I think it was like maybe 3-2, and all of a sudden, the Predators just exploded for 5 goals. I think in the third period there. So, 8-2. I think they ended.
The Sharks are also only won 14 games this year. So
that's why I'm thinking like, boom. I'm like, I'll take that fucking plus money all day, right? Also, a couple nights ago, the Sabres went over and they won. That was a good couple of picks from me. But Tyler, man, you're the king of money lines. I know there's not too much hockey going on tonight, but what do you got for us?
Oh, let's see. I got the Toronto Maple Leafs beating the Washington Capitals tonight.
Yeah.
I also have the Minnesota Wild beating the Kings. And hold on one second. There's one more. There's only 3 games tonight. So I got Toronto over Washington, which Toronto is winning 1-0 right now as we speak. Then I have Dallas over Arizona Coyotes, which Coyotes has been my favorite sleeper team of this year, but Dallas is on fire.
Yeah, and that's, I was gonna say there too.
And Minnesota is actually a plus 130 over the LA Kings tonight, so I rolled that one.
Now here's something I want to tell you about in betting, Tyler. Sometimes you see, oh, what's that? That's such great. You got to remember that they're trying to fool you sometimes. But I will say this too: March Madness is up and coming. We'll talk a little bit about that more. And you're live here in the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar with Rampart Hockey and myself, the Sauce Guy, on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribe. So, Tyler, let's talk a little bit about the March Madness, the tournament, man. What do you got winning this thing?
Who do I got winning this thing? I'm going to tell you who I'm very disappointed in. I didn't fill one out yet. But who I'm very disappointed in is Virginia Cavaliers. What happened to them, buddy? I mean, they fell completely off the face of the earth. They had like 30 points in the whole game. It felt like it was just embarrassing at that point. But so March Madness, we all know it's just firing up. We're all about to get excited to watch all the games, But I got Houston winning the March Madness this year. I think they're a very big, physical, strong team that college boys just can't handle.
Houston definitely looks pretty good. Although it's funny when you're talking about them the other night, and it's like, hey, I think they just lost, actually. You're like, what? It's like, I got to tell you, I got Carolina as in University of North Carolina. I got them winning the whole thing. I think UConn is going to get themselves far again. I really think that they are a good team. I think they might get into the Final Four per se, but I really think that there's a team that's going to get into the Final Four that is a Cinderella per se is going to be NC State. I think the way that they played in the ACC tournament tells you everything. And if you want to talk about college basketball, I think maybe the best conference could be said to be the ACC. I mean, you got Carolina, you got Duke, you got NC State now, you got Syracuse, even though they didn't make it, but they could beat teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got a lot of good teams in the ACC. So I really think that North Carolina, though, they got the veterans that are on the team currently. They've got the experience. They've been there. Hubert Davis is a coach. I think he's due to get one here. I really believe that North Carolina is going to win the whole thing. So that's my pick. Now, Tyler, do you know what race we got coming up this weekend for NASCAR or no?
Not off the top of my head. Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of it either. Normally, our guy 12 Gauge, our correspondent for NASCAR and our producer of the show, would be filling us in here. But he is actually on the night shift where he's working, so he is unable to tune in with us. But I want to say, man, I appreciate everybody so far for tuning in, liking, and sharing the show. I want to ask Tyler some other stuff real fast, man. So you had another hated player you wanted to talk about.
Oh, man, last night you caught me off guard. I thought you were going to ask me football. But, I wasn't feeling too good and my brain wasn't working. And actually, if you tuned in live in the sit down, you would have seen old Rampart sleeping on the camera. So there's that.
But I never even know. I kind of had I thought maybe I was like, I never saw it. I just thought maybe he did.
No, but yeah, you asked me that question. I got two actually, and they're both from a team that I can't stand. I actually despise them. I'm going to say Milan Lucic is number one. I hate him. Needs a visor. He needs to, Then we got Brad Marchand, Mr. Slewfoot captain himself. Sit down, buddy. It's okay.
That's something else I wanted to say, too. You hate Brad Marchand, but I think the Sabres need to take a little page out of his notebook. I've seen a video of him and Sidney Crosby one-on-one hockey just going at it, and Brad Marchand just really.
They're from Nova Scotia.
No, there's a lot of respect between the two of them right there.
They grew up together. That's why.
And I think it'd be nice to see Rasmus Dahlin take step forward here as the leader of this team. You're the guy that's the face of the franchise. You got the contract. You got every bit of what you need. Take a step forward and invite some teammates to come and skate with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's go skate. Let's go play some fucking pickup hockey against Rampart and Sauce.
Let's go play at Tim Hortons Ice Complex up there in Henrietta.
Leroy Central School and not tell anybody there's a fucking ice rink for a fucking year. Fucking jerks. What the fuck?
Hey, shout out Mike Humphrey though for being the coach of the Leroy Calmum.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Fine, man. Congratulations. Which is sad to say it's slightly ruined obviously because we know that Leroy and Calmum has been merged. And I'm not going to get into that. But basically, man, it's been a great show so far. Everybody appreciate you for liking and sharing. Like I said, you're going to see some rebranding here in the coming weeks. nonstop with always the same sports coverage, same everything, this and that. Tyler, man, I think overall, man, I want to play one timer, and I want you to kind of just go off, get us a little fired up here, and then maybe I'll do getting saucy and we'll head out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Let's play one timer. Let's see. Rampart, give us a little throwaway game up in Rochester.
Rasmus Dahlin, brother, I appreciate you very much. I think you're the best defenseman in the whole entire NHL right now. Tage Thompson, you want them to come play together? Come on, meet me down at the old Bill Gray's Arena. We'll play one-on-one right today. I don't care. Devin Levi, UPL, everybody, bring you over there now. But so we're fired up. We got Edmonton tomorrow. We got Edmonton at 9:00. We all know what that brings. Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl. We all know what that brings. When Connor McDavid was here, I went to that game. That was a very beautiful game. He's from Erie. We had mad love and respect for Connor McDavid. So let's bring it back to him over in Edmonton, and let's get fired up, buddies, because we're ready. Let's go, Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying, man. So great stuff. Let's play Getting Saucy real fast. That was Rampart here for his segment of the one-timer, getting y'all fired up out there for the Buffalo Sabres, getting ready to take on Edmonton as they continue that end of the season playoff push, and that has been a little unsuspected, but they're still within mathematical chances. And hey, one game at a time. That's what we say, right? So let's get saucy.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Ice cold, nice, refreshing Labatt Blue on a fierce storm behind JA-17.
It's a cold front, is what that is.
I'm fired up this week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get you fired up. Bills Mafia, you want to hear me getting saucy this week? It's simple. Mac Jones and the New England Patriots, and also, too, the Miami Dolphins, and anybody that's got anything bad to say. Bills by a billion, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Bills.
Let me tell you something, man. Fucking Buffalo sports coverage is right here in the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar, and that is on live Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at Buffalo Sauce. Got across social media platforms, and Anthony Barmasuit on Facebook. Make sure you like, share, following, subscribe with your notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the great live coverage or any of the other coverage of daily entertainment, sports entertainment, and sports betting and everything Bills Mafia related. This is your host, the Sauce God, as always, here in the sit down, and also in the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar with my co-hosts, and the host is what I like to call him, Rampart Sauce. I'd like to say, man, appreciate you for stopping in here again. I want everybody to remember to make sure your notifications are turned on so you don't miss any of the shows that we have up and coming, as we got some great content coming up this weekend. But, Tyler, man, overall, Punxsutawney fucking Phil my fucking ass. You fucking woke up, hung the fuck over, and Punxsutawney fucking phony fucking Phil is what the fuck I'm gonna fucking say. You motherfucker, you fucking brought this fucking shit on. I think my shit, whatever the fuck, dude. Go to fuck home. You fucking belong. We don't understand you. Go back where you came from, Punxsutawney Phil, and that's what I'm saying. Fuck you, man. I want some fucking spring weather, and I want some nice weather so we can get ourselves out there, Tyler, and get ourselves golfing where I can enjoy my off season from Bill's season and all that heartbreak that transpires. So, everybody, thank you for liking and sharing. Thank you for tuning in with myself, the Sauce God, Rampart Talk, right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, in the Buffalo Mafia Sports Bar, and presented by Duff Wings and BuffaloSauceGod.com. As always, man, stay tuned and stay blessed, and God bless, and go Bills. You know what I'm saying?